Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. We are on. And despite some delay, welcome to Phil's Corner, everybody. Apologies for the slightly later start. And indeed, I said I was going to be on a 3. It's now 10 past 3. But nonetheless, we are here. And good to see a number of people in chat already. Welcome, everyone. Ballum jumping in says, here we go. I can see you and hear you. Yes, good. That is not always a given. Had a few technical issues in the past. Up the Cadiz. Cadiz. I don't know how you say the name, as is typical here at the channel. Yeah, we'll call them Cadiz, which I apologise for. That's definitely not how you say it. But yeah, they are going to be the highlight, the star of the show today. I've already shared a bit on Twitter, but you know, spoilers. Really like the shirts. I think they are absolutely brilliant. Question is, how high will they go on the tier list? So we'll get to that very, very shortly. You might see behind me as well the shirt which UEFA Champions League sent me. So guys, if you're watching this stream, whether it's live or you're watching this after the fact, it would really mean a lot to me if you'd go and check out my latest video. Just to support me, you know, that's one of those things where those guys sent me the shirt, and of course if the video does well, it means there's more chance of getting shirts in the future. So it's a very selfish request, but if you have a spare 10 minutes, check out my unboxing video if you haven't already. It's on the channel, it's the last upload, and of course if you enjoy it, you know, you can leave a like and a comment and all that good stuff. But yeah, again, it would really mean a lot if you could do that. But thank you for your ongoing support as always. Pat says, can we keep to the company view? Interested for FC Bayern. Very good. I see what you did there. Very interesting indeed. From my vantage point, I'm slightly surprised. Time will tell. And exactly, final hype. Obviously, well, this weekend, I'll be certainly rooting for Dortmund for many reasons. One, as a Liverpool fan, it's hard to root for Real, as amazing as the team is, and as great as Bellingham is, and as an Englishman, I'd love to see Bellingham, you know, do well. But equally, Dortmund as the underdogs, you know, some affiliation or, you know, appreciation for them as a club. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough. But it's a final. You never know. Should be a good one though. As we begin, guys, I'll just do the usual bits of housekeeping. I've already talked about, you know, checking out the video on the shirt. But just by watching this, you're being a big support. You can also, of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. That gives you, well, keeps you up to date with new uploads, new streams. You can click the notification bell as well. That will, of course, notify you when stuff happens as well. Hey, Duncan, good to see you, my friend. But yeah, join the Phil's Corner family, and simply by subscribing, it does really help. It does really help this channel to grow. I've got some very cool projects as well coming up, which I can't share anymore. But all I'll say is there'll be more stuff coming in the next few weeks, which is going to be really cool, and which I'll share more of. I literally can't say more than that, but keep your eyes and ears peeled. Good afternoon, Ian. Afternoon, beautiful people. Indeed, afternoon to this beautiful little bunch we have on a Thursday and sometimes Tuesdays. Yeah, and Ballum mentions Leeds. That's a big story today with the Red Bull sponsorship. I think the biggest thing really is that you know, this isn't an overhaul of the kits or anything like that. Hey, Daredevil. Good to see you, mate. But of course, well, the club they came out immediately, said Red Bull are going to be the sponsors, the primary sponsors. So that's significant. And I think there's a lot of questions today in the community kind of speculating, are Red Bull going to go with the full colour logo? Are they going to kind of monochrome it? They've done that with a few of their teams. I would expect a full colour logo. And I think the blueprint is there. I mean, most of their teams actually do have white as a base colour, usually with red as an accent. You think of Leipzig and Salzburg and New York Red Bulls. So I think the model is already there. I would fully expect to see the red and yellow Red Bull logo. But we'll see. It's a very interesting sponsorship. It's a high profile one for the club. Not really necessarily very good for the kids, but having said that, you know, there is worse out there. I mean, you know, I don't personally hate Red Bull as much as many do. I get a lot of the reasons there. Of course, there's a lot of, you know, questions around the model and whether it's good for the game, and a lot of scrutiny, particularly in Germany. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. Well, we can talk about that, but we are here to talk about some shirts, of course. RB Leeds, says Ian, looking forward to the shirts being even more similar. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, New Rebels have some really good kits. But yeah, good to see Sega. Yeah, that's interesting, man. It says first time sponsored a football team that is not their teams. Yeah, I feel like there have been others, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. Maybe I'm thinking of other sports. I know certainly Red Bull have worked in, like with F1, for example, they were sponsoring F1 cars before they bought a team, of course. But yeah, maybe not. Yeah, to be honest, nothing jumps off the top of my head in football. I like this. I do not hate Red Bull in case Red Bull said it becomes shares. Red Bull, if you're one of the 10 people watching this stream, send me a case. I'll happily stick it on top of my sofa there, and I'll drink it. I'll drink it in support. Sorry, this is a real. I'm enjoying this chat. We will get to the hot wall, but complete side note. Some of you know my favourite video game of all time is Age of Empires 2. I still play it occasionally, and I absolutely love it. Red Bull, out of the blue almost a few years ago, jumped into the scene, which is quite a niche scene, and they basically put on this massive tournament in the Age of Empires scene, and it was really cool. And yeah, so since then I've actually kind of appreciated Red Bull a bit more, seeing how they kind of got involved in this very niche community and put in a lot of money into it. So they've got me hook, line and sinker now. I'm not quite a Red Bull fan, but you know, that my the brand affinity for them, for me, is very high because of that. Anyway, that's a real side story. I need to get to this wall before I mean, you guys are still watching, but and I appreciate it, but we do need to talk about shirts, don't we? Maybe at the end of the stream. I mean, there's not too many shirts to talk about. We can still have a bit of a chat. Right. James says a yellow blue logo will look lovely. It would. I would be very surprised if I do that, because I think the red is quite integral. I think we're more likely to see a monochrome logo than we are yellow blue. But then, you know, the colours are in their logo as well, aren't they? Pick to win the Champions League. I think Real will probably win it, but I'd love to see a Dortmund win. That's my thoughts, Brock. Right, guys, this is the whole wall, and I will explain this for anyone who may be new here. This is our evolving tier list. We started this in January. Most weeks, we've missed a few weeks, but most weeks we jump on, we add shirts to this list. It's of course getting a little bit out of control, but that's kind of what we like. The main thing here is quite simply the tier list is ordered from my favourite shirts on the right down to my least favourite on the left. So left to right, from worst to first. You've got also, as well as the individual shirts, which of course we could get into, or we will get into as we go through today, we also have, I'm tracking kind of my feelings towards particular brands. Now, of course, when a brand only has one or two shirts, their placement is going to be skewed. So Reebok, I think we've only reviewed one Reebok shirt so far this year, and which was the Botafogo shirt, which I loved. Of course, you know, they will not all their shirts are this good. And when you've got a brand like Nike or Adidas, because they have so many shirts, they're just going to kind of end up around here just by default, probably. But nonetheless, this is our tier list. And of course, any tier list needs some content to stick on the tier list. We are using Football Shirt Culture. Shout out to them. This stream isn't associated with them in any way, but they do keep up to date with new releases, and they do a really good job of that. I've not seen this quick view feature before. Okay, let's just open it up within the window. But that's actually quite nice. To me, that is actually positive. I'm pretty sure this is new, or maybe I've been missing this for several weeks. So that's nice. We don't have to keep opening new tabs. Cool. There you go. And I really should speak to Football Shirt Culture and see if I can get a bit of I can't be sponsored by them. I don't know if they do that. Anyway, I'm thinking out loud. Let's start with Nantes from France. Now, these guys had a quite a notable crest rebrand recently, and it's a bit of a shame. It's not the worst out there, but it's a somewhat underwhelming rebrand, I would say. There are certainly worse out there. So that is often the first thing I look at when I look at a Nantes kit. However, the other big thing, which again is typical for the team in recent years, is their red sponsor. I don't know who Synergy are, but they have been working with Nantes for a little while now, and it is always quite jarring, so that hasn't changed. But of course, there's more to the shirt. I believe, I don't know how, I've not seen confirmation, but I saw suggestions that the diagonal look of the green stripes here was inspired by the team's kits, famous kits from the 70s and 80s. Now that I don't know again how true that is, because of course the diagonal nature of that was largely because of the sponsor, the Giant One. But anyway, judging the kit on its merits, I think there are things to like, and certainly Macron are doing good things, and we'll talk a lot more about Macron today. The back is plain, which is a negative, but that backnet detail with the stars are embroidered, which is nice compared to just a simple transfer. So that's good in terms of quality. And the collar, I don't hate it. It's a very interesting collar, very unusual to have a kind of little cutout on both front and back, but I don't hate it. And honestly, I mean, Ian says here, never a bad Nantes shirt in the shirt world. They are the French Norwich. They are indeed, and I think that immediately does set a good floor for the team. I think I would agree with you, Ian, that because the team has such a notable colour scheme, it means that even the less exciting shirts have something about them, and I think that this falls into that category. The pattern in the green here looks fairly nondescript. I think I'd probably rather have those stripes continuing on the sleeves and ideally on the back, but this is like a very high candle tier for me. Candle tier is our third tier, which most shirts will usually end up in this tier. It's probably going to be the most congested when all is said and done, but I think I would happily put this somewhere around this area. Well, let's go here. Yeah, I like it. I do like it. Duncan says Macron is generally a strong brand. They have weird sizing. They do have slightly weird sizing. They're one of those European brands who they're not quite kind of Kappa, but they are definitely of that persuasion, shall we say. And you can see here Macron, I've nudged them down a bit, but they are doing very well this year in my book. In fact, of the big names, I think probably only Kappa are the other ones of the kind of the big 10, if you like. Umbro, New Balance, Hummel all performing well, but again, these guys don't have as many shirts, whereas Macron have a lot of teams, and yet I think the standard is really high. So I really like the brand. They deserve the love they get. They've been very good for quite a while, to be honest. This isn't new for Macron in any way, but I think they are really coming into their own. So that's the Nantes shirt, a very solid start. What about Harrogate Town? Now, we've just mentioned New Balance. They're not nearly as big a club as Nantes. Harrogate Town are one of a small number of teams that New Balance are still working with in the UK. So despite again not being a big club, what are they, League Two? They're still important for the brand, so you would expect or hope New Balance to put their best foot forward for Harrogate. And again, this is an important contract for them. Let's have a look at the design. I think my first impression that this kind of the combination of the colourway and the pattern feels a little bit kind of corporate to me. It feels, maybe it's, I don't know if it's the sponsor logo as well there. It has that sort of fairly generic look. It's fine, and I believe it's bespoke. I would assume it's bespoke for the team. It's hardly going to set the world on fire. Having said that, it's not a bad shirt. There aren't kind of major faux pas here. Yes, the back is plain, which is a shame, but we say that about many clubs. But yeah, this feels like, I mean, it feels largely quite underwhelming, and I don't think that pattern is interesting enough to me. Everything ties in fairly well, and the black and yellow isn't a bad colour scheme. Is this their home or their away? This is the third kit. Okay, so I don't remember there. It looks like maybe these are some of the shirts we haven't ranked yet. I think maybe these are part of the backlog which I need to work through. But anyway, let's get them on the board. And I think this is much more like a lower candle tier. Now, we're not talking like low candle tier. I don't think this is in danger of being in the ice cube tier, but I would definitely rank this lower than the Nantes shirt we just looked at, and I would probably, as I say, I'm thinking below halfway. That's my kind of instant reaction, instant ranking. One thing which we may do later in the year, which some previous viewers may remember, is we sometimes like to do a bit of a retrospective, and we may do that maybe towards the end of the summer. So some of these kits where we rank them at the start of the year, and we might just kind of say, okay, have our feelings changed? Because of course sometimes you look at a kit and your first reaction is that's horrible, and then you maybe see it on the pitch, or you see a bit more of it, you see someone buy it for their collection, and you're like, okay, that's looking a bit better. But let's get Harrogate. I don't want to be too harsh. We'll go here for Harrogate Town. And of course, being a New Balance shirt, I've enjoyed New Balance and their output this year, but we will knock them down. We need to do a bit of a shifty. There we go. Clicking all over the shop. There we go. That's in my micro there. Ian says, Macron also do loads with grassroots teams. All their local stores have their own websites, which are worth a browse for those seeking some fairly unique, lesser known excuse me, team shirts. That's great stuff, isn't it? And I think that's the thing about Macron. They put in so much effort at all levels of the pyramid. Probably more than any other brand, actually. I think I mean, a lot of brands do this, or they at least nod to it, but I think Macron actually execute the best of any brand. Whether it's a team that's playing in the Champions League or a team that is non-league or far down the divisions, almost always they perform, they overperform. Dale says, whenever I think of New Balance, I just think of their last game at Liverpool. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Despite some turbulence, yeah, I think, and obviously the way Nike took over, it was all a bit kind of funny, wasn't it, and the legal case. But certainly, yeah, the success towards the end of that tenure, or that partnership, that tandem. I think many people are the same now. Now we come to Castore, a brand much maligned in the community. I would say a lot of the frustrations are justified, and I've said for a while that I kind of wished Castore would expand a bit more slowly, because it felt often that their good work was being undone by quality control issues, and I think the fact that their expansion was so aggressive, I would assume, has contributed to that. But let's judge this shirt on its merits. This is the Rangers away kit, and I think there's some things to like if we try and get a handle on the pattern, the sort of subliminal pattern. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I may be wrong, but that looks to be potentially a jacquard or part of the fabric of the shirt. Again, sorry, this has to load. We might have to come out of this quick view. Let's just maybe open up. This could be my internet, to be fair, or it could be the site slowing down. I just says, I love how Castore brought back Rangers' old badge. That is true. That is something which I actually did miss at first glance, but a very important thing, which a lot of clubs are doing. But that's a great shout, Andres. Knowledge says, what size is USA 2X in European? So typically, US sizing is larger than European sizing. So a double XL US would be more like a triple XL European. I say European, more like a triple XL UK. Now, of course, European. Again, when we say European sizing, like we mentioned Macron, like a European large, for example, is a slightly tighter fit than a UK large, and certainly much tighter than the US large. So generally, I'd say let's say you've got a UK large, US is something like an L/XL, and a and a European large is more like an M/L. Does that make sense? I've really butchered that explanation, but that's the typical process. Of course, some brands are different. Some brands change even year on year, but that's my usual process. It says, asking us I bought an OH 3XL and it's too small. Yeah, sometimes sizing can be really inconsistent. Yeah, so this is again trying to look at this shirt. It looks like this subliminal pattern in the body of the shirt is actually part of the fabric, and this is actually quite significant for me. This is the kind of thing which separates a brand from the pack, because this shirt actually I think would look quite nice no matter how the pattern was created, if it was sublimated even. But now seeing that it's part of the fabric, that is actually something which is a real step up. And to be honest, it really makes you think quite highly of the shirt compared to just the sublimation. Because the advantage you get, and we talk about this a lot on the channel, but the advantage you get with a pattern that's part of the fabric of the shirt is that, like, it looks good at all angles, all distances. If you're up close, you can really kind of feel that pattern. You can see it. The light will bounce off it, and it kind of has this dynamic nature to it. And though you won't see it as much from a distance, the nature of a subliminal pattern anyway is it's not really there to take your focus. It's just adding quality. And this is a largely, obviously quite a plain shirt, were it not for that pattern. But this is just a great way to add interest to what would otherwise be a very plain shirt. Another classic technique is embossing or debossing. But that can be a really effective way of doing it. And of course, for the big brands like Nike and Adidas, they make use of their various technologies, such as dry fit ADV or heat ready, which often have these really nice ventilation panels and the kind of body mapping and all that nonsense. Anyway, I say nonsense, it's the kind of stuff I really love. But so nice to say that I really like this shirt, and I think, the collar, not the biggest fan of this style, but I don't mind it at all. I quite like these little bits of red. I think there's a pleasing amount, and I appreciate that the little flashes we have on the collar and cuffs and the crest, they're all quite nice and thin. But for me, the star is that pattern. It's almost like a mashup pattern, but I think it's sorry, this isn't my favorite pattern in the world, but I do like the execution. So to be honest, guys, I'm very happy to put this in the Flames tier. And I have to say, if Castore do more shirts like this, then they are, at least for me personally, they're going to very much rise up in my own personal rankings. I think this is the key to my shirt heart, if you like. And I think it's important that despite all the hate that they get and the very real issues they've had, if they produce good stuff like this, I think they can change the tide. Although there will still be people who the damage is for some people is irreparable. But I'm really impressed with the execution of this one and the idea. And the retro crest, which I just mentioned, is a real plus as well. So, big fan. Yeah, I'm going to stick it here. Just behind the Nigeria there. And if we find Castore, so you see they're all the way down here on this little section, but we will bump them up. Let's stick them just. Let's not do that. That's too many names. Let's go to Castore. Yeah, a few more like that, and they will easily rise up the ranks. Dedal says very, very clean, digging the red outline, sort of draws your eye to it. It does. Excuse me. And I think there's a real restraint in keeping the red like that. Obviously the sponsor is a betting sponsor, which is a shame, but it is, excuse me, at least recoloured effectively. So that is Rangers away. Very good. What about Hartlepool? Now, Araya, another brand who have done some really good work across the board, across all levels of the pyramid. Let's see what they are offering up for Hartlepool United. Looking at the home first, this has a sort of somewhat retro feel. Anytime you see these kind of stripes, almost like the kind of faux shadow stripes, makes you think of all those great kits of the 80s and 90s, which had that, often because of jacquards or, again, fabric detailing, a bit like we talked about before, creating this kind of shadow stripe effect. So even though this is just a sublimation, just a simple kind of print in the fabric, it looks good, and it does, again, with the collar. It's very much, I would assume this is based on the old kit, I don't know, maybe. Okay, yes, let's talk about the late 90s. That makes sense. They've done well with that aesthetic. And even though the sponsor is quite jarring both in size and colour, it's not a complete, it doesn't completely ruin the look. I do like the fact that the stripes, again, they go nicely on the sleeves. Unsure as to whether they're on the back. They're not on the back. But you know, it is what it is. That is kind of the standard these days. But I think they've very much achieved that 90s aesthetic. Nothing too exciting about it, and I think again there's those little things. There are things holding it back, whether it is the plain back, whether it is the fact that the sponsor is a bit of an eyesore. But I do think the design has captured a good look there, and I think this is definitely kind of a mid to high counter tier. Yeah, I think this is pushing the higher areas of the counter tier. Nothing too much higher, but I would say this kind of area feels about right. Always looking for gaps we can fill, and that looks good there. So that is Hartlepool's home shirt. What about the Hartlepool? Is it the away? It is the away. So Hartlepool United away from Araya. Let's have a look at that now. So this is a light blue shirt, and this is offering something different. Now, map shirts have been a big theme, something of an overdone trend. This is a decent style or a decent usage of a map pattern. Small things like, for example, I much prefer a map pattern like this which is all over the kit, not just kind of consigned to one area. And they've kept like the lines here, they've got the kind of old school map details, so it's actually quite a charming map pattern. Like, yes, it's a bit overdone, it's a bit cliche, but I do think that the application or the style is quite good. It's a nice level of opacity, so it's not too in your face. So Araya have done a good job. It goes on the sleeves. It does appear to go on the back as well, and again, that's a real positive. So it's funny. This is actually, I think, one of the better map shirts we've seen this year, and I am kind of bored of map shirts, but this is about as good as they could have done, I think. And the two-tone, the light blue with the dark blue with the navy, I think it looks effective. They've recolored all the sponsors well. So you can see Araya, they do pay a lot, you know, they've got great attention to detail. Honestly, I actually think this is very close to the flame steel. I'll probably just hold back from going that high. But, excuse me. Actually, the more I look at it, in fact, I'm going to stick it, I'm going to stick it in the flame steel. Not too high, but I will actually. I think there's enough here where I have to say they've actually made a map kit work in 2024, which is quite impressive. Maybe it was just the low old school ship at the end which swayed me. Bit of a sucker for that kind of nod. And I mean, genuinely, as a kid, I used to pretty much read atlases for fun. I love a good world map, and it's funny because we see a lot of map kits now. I'm kind of bored of map kits, but I still kind of like maps. if I'm honest. So that's Hartlepool, and of course we need to rank a rare or move a rare. So where are they? Where are they? There they are. We will give them a slight bump. Nothing too crazy. We are getting a bit congested, but that's fine. Sega says, yeah, for map kit, this is certainly better than the copy and paste Google Maps street type. Exactly. Hey, they've got a third coming. Not much in the way of contrast to the home. That's true. Having a light blue kit when you are blue and white is a bit similar. I'm sure there'll be a third. True contrast there. Now we go to Spain. Real Sociedad and our boys Macron. Now, we have seen this style of collar for Macron for a number of years. I want to say, and I can't think of specific shirts, but I'm sure some of you will remember that I want to say for at least 4 or 5 seasons, the odd anniversary Macron shirt will turn up with this style of collar, this kind of fake laced collar. And it looks pretty good. Like, I quite like it. And again, I think there's been variations. I think at points it's had another cross, another set of laces. But I can't like think of the shirt off somewhere. But there's definitely been some. I'm sure we could find them if we Googled it. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because again, ultimately I think it's well executed. And this is a very crisp shirt, of course, because of the lace detail. It gives an old school feel. I can't say though, but because we've seen this style of collar before, it's not that exciting to me. Yes, it is a good collar. The sponsor is pretty ugly and it's, you know, way too colourful, but you know, there are good things. The details are all fully embroidered. You've got the Basque flag, which looks good, the crest, which appears to be either a patch or it is fully embroidered. I don't know for sure. It looks like, I can't really tell, but so this is a very good shirt. But I think because I've seen that, yeah, Scottish flag detail indeed, Ian. Yeah, because we've seen this kind of style before, it's not kind of too much of a story for me. So very classic, very traditional. It is a shame about the sponsor. That does ruin it. But then again, that is kind of the going rate. And even though there's a box here for the number, I don't hate that. You've at least got, like, to me, this is actually 10 times better than a completely plain back. Maybe not 10 times, 5 times better. So I would give this one like a mid to high candle tier, which is pretty respectable. Not really anything I would kind of go out of my way to collect. And indeed, if I rank a shirt in the candle tier, they're probably no shirts I'm going to look to pick up. I mean, you know, in most years I'll be happy to pick up even half a dozen shirts from a list like this. But yeah, it's one of those where it's kind of getting lost in the pack. But it is a nice shirt, and it's an effective home shirt. Certainly one that will please fans. Macron, nudging down a bit, but they are still doing pretty well. Talking on the Hartlepool kit, he says, because the map detail is subtle on the Hartlepool shirt, it ends up being a good shirt. I would completely agree. I think there's a real skill to being a bit more reserved, and I think that's why subliminal patterns are so important. Sometimes if they're too obvious, it takes away from the shirt. Sometimes an obvious pattern is good, but I think with a matte pattern they tend to favour more, like, if they look better typically if they're more subliminal. Robert says Piacenza 2019. Right, so that I think I can even picture that. There we go. Right, bingo. Thank you. This is what I mean. It's been 5 years. Okay, that has an extra cost, but that's almost like for like, isn't it? Okay, it's very similar. But this is such a like a Macron style collar. I spelled anniversary wrong. That's fine. Like literally, I'm sure if we search Macron anniversary shirt, look at that wonderful design there. Okay, this is going to undo me now. I shouldn't do this live on stream. And also, I'm sure we've seen other kits with that stuff. Okay, here we go. So we had the Arminia Bielefeld shirt again with the extra cross, but that was there. That was this season, though, to be fair. I'm sure. Well, the Piacenza one is a great shirt, but that has proved my point. Oh, there we go. Sampdoria from however many years ago. Yeah, there's others. There's a smattering, but the thing is, they don't do it tons, and ultimately it does look quite good. So, not against it at all. Sixes are the actual laces just printed. I think they are, as far as I know, they are just not printed, but they are like a little kind of strip of fabric. Yeah, so it is. I don't think they're laces, but they are. It is, not just printed. There you go. That's Real Sociedad. A decent home shirt, but hardly setting the world alight. What about Nagoya Grampus now? I am a bit of a Mizuno fanboy, a Mizuno stan, if you like. I really can't get. I can't say the word stan. I'm not that young. I'm over 30 now. I think I need to stop pretending I'm down on the kids. But the Nagoya Grampus shirt is a Mizuno shirt, so I have a lot of interest in this. Having said that, I don't think this is particularly exciting. Now the crest is very unusual. That looks like an anniversary. Well, the famous whale of Nagoya Grampus there has had a bit of a makeover. I'm trying to. Let's just actually. What am I doing? I'm trying to find this little guy. Very sleek. Not really the biggest fan of it, but it is what it is. I need to now zoom out. So that honestly doesn't immediately. I wouldn't say it's positive. The rebrand. Looking at the shirt as well broadly, not really feeling the colorway now. The base color red and the gold is one thing, but the kind of darker red here looks a bit muddy. Now it could just be the image, the kind of retail image here. I don't think I like that shade in tandem with the other colours. The shirt does feel quite flat as well. And I think one thing which Mizuno have been quite good at, and the reason I like Mizuno, is a lot of their work in Europe particularly has been quite good when it comes to quality and it comes to embossed patterns. This shirt looks a lot less exciting from that perspective. I need to stop. I'm not used to this quick view. I think I'll just go back to opening up the article. Here we go. Yeah, so honestly, this is not really doing much for me at first glance. Where would I rank it on the tier list? Probably in our third tier, in the candle tier. I'd expect more. I mean, the detail there, never give up for the win. That's pretty great. Gotta love that. Yeah, honestly, I think we need something more intricate. Maybe it's a subliminal pattern. Maybe it's something just to lift the shirt. It does feel a bit cheap and a bit flat on first impression, and it could just be that we've not really got a good photo shoot going for this. Mizuno are better than this though, definitely. Nice little samurai ninja inspired shoot there. That's quite funny, but anyway, we'll move on. That's the Mizuno sorry, the Nagoya Grampus 8 special edition shirt. Leaves a bit to be desired, I would say. J-League shirts are a lot of fun. They're often quite hard to get as well, especially if you're based in the UK. So they're quite nice pieces to own, but you will have to pay for the privilege. And I would say that this one isn't really one I would suggest you do that for. Guys, I just want to say as well, like we did at the start, thank you for tuning in. It's been a busy stream and the numbers look good. If you haven't already, do check out my latest upload on the channel where I talk about a shirt that UEFA Champions League sent me. A shirt that they have designed in collaboration with EA Sports FC, and it would really help me a lot if you could just support that channel, but simply by viewing it. You can leave a like and comment if you want as well, but that would really mean a lot to me. It would just basically increase my chances of getting, you know, more stuff sent to me in the future. So it's a very selfish thing to say, but if you have a spare 10 minutes, even if you don't have 10 minutes but you just want to click on the video and pump up those numbers a bit, it would mean a lot. But thank you for watching, of course, as well. Just by tuning in today, you're supporting me, so I appreciate it. Right, where are Mizuno? Where are Mizuno? Don't tell me this is the first Mizuno shirt we've had all year. Well, I mean, this is difficult because I've done it before where I've tried to find a brand. I think this might be the first Mizuno shirt we've had all year. Okay, cool. Well, in that case, we'll get them on the board. It pains me, as I say, as a bit of a Mizuno fanboy, to have them this low. Hopefully they have some more designs which do bump them up. I'm just looking here, and unless I am going blind, this whole tier list is an exercise in comprehension. Like, if someone told me, okay, find the AC Milan home shirt, okay, fine, it's there. But that was easy. I'm trying to think of another shirt we ranked. I don't know. You know, like, if we'll stop playing this game. Yeah. Too many shirts, and we are not even halfway through the year. Gotta love it. But now, guys, after much anticipation, we come to one of the stars of today's video, today's episode, and that is the Cadiz or Cadiz. I don't know how you say the name in Spanish. I'm usually looking to my chat to help me in that. I think, am I right in saying it's Cadiz? Like a kind of F? We'll call them Cadiz as well. Cadiz is definitely not right. That's my Essex coming through there. But anyway, Cadiz, however you call them. Just as a headline, I would say these kits are a textbook example of how to create a shirt that's inspired by the past, but that isn't simply remaking the past. And I think this is excellent work from the club, and indeed from their partners, Macron. If we start with the home shirt, there is this wonderful, very retro panelled sleeve section, and I love this for several reasons. Now, it's not on this article here, but you can check out pictures of the shirt which inspired this kit, and it's actually quite different. The kind of little pattern comes in onto sort of two triangles that come in from either side, but I actually think this is a really good way of nodding to that shirt without just simply remaking it. And I like, you know, like this shirt, it has the kind of slightly more modern construction, it's a sleeker fit, and even the pattern feels a lot more kind of new retro, but I think it still maintains what makes some of those retro kits so good, and it's the aesthetics of the pattern. Of course, it's the fact that you've got it, like, it's quite busy, but I just really like the way they've constrained or used like the paneling of the shirt or the pattern to great effect. It almost looks like kind of, you know, you think of some of the great like Denmark 92, the Denmark 92 shirt, or some of those great early 90s shirts where you had often the sleeves are the star of the show, and I think in this example this very much taps into that, even though this is actually different. So it's different, and again, I should have got a picture. You can check it out. I think I posted it on Twitter. So they've taken that retro idea and in many ways improved on it. Dedo says, love how the collar is almost identical to the retro. Yeah, the collar very faithful to that. Ian said if they had a sponsor, it needs to be the same blue as the shoulders. Yes, you would really hope they do that. Really like the fact that this triangle pattern, which is the kind of theme which you see from time to time, but I like how it is. Again, we talked about subliminal patterns, we've talked about a lot today. That's in the body of the shirt as well, and it's subliminally like it's in the blue section, but then of course it's contrasting on that section on the sleeves. I just think this is absolutely brilliant, and to be honest, like these are the shirts which I think stand tall. We see a lot of retro inspired shirts, but they're not often done this effectively. Nothing too special on the inside neck or the back neck, but the embroidered detail is nice. That is a quality element, as opposed to just a transfer like we've talked about. It's great. You know, I'd probably like to see the triangles on the back a bit, but that's being picky. This is excellent, and to be honest, guys, I'm going to put this in the Volcano tier. That is high, and I don't do that lightly, but I think this is pretty much the perfect retro inspired shirt. And it's not just I think that's the key for me, is it's not just a straight remake. I think they've taken the theme and improved on it, ran with it, captured the essence of that retro kit, but done something creative with it. So I think this is just great. You know, within the Volcano tier, I'd put it sort of lower in this tier, but it's still brilliant. Like I think this is absolutely fantastic, and there is more to come because we've got the away as well. And just as it's a warranted Volcano jersey, yeah, I honestly think it is like it's got so many things that I like in terms of that capturing. Again, they're very you know, it's very wearable, and the kind of retro thing, it can be overdone, but I think the creative decisions that have been made here really separate it, and in many ways it continues with the away. Now I tweeted about this the other day, saying this was like the best kit Lazio never had. It would make an amazing kit. I mean, even just the pattern here looks like the kind of eagle wings of Lazio, but of course this isn't a Lazio shirt, even though Macron did work with them, didn't they? But this is another shirt inspired by an old kit. So in this example, I believe this was a Maber shirt, so we're going back even further to the 80s. But again, I really like how this is, like, you can see the design process or the thought process, right? You've got an old kit, but instead of just a straight remake, they've actually like tapped into it with the colours, with the central band, but they've added other things as well, and the sleeve pattern is quite unusual, and I'd probably prefer it if well, you've got the raglan sleeves, which kind of affects this, but I'd probably prefer these kind of, we'll call them the wings, to kind of extend into the body. I think the fact they're cut off by the paneling, it could be better, but I think ultimately I really like it. That's interesting. Dead was saying the sleeve pattern, I'll do the sleeve pattern go on. I think he said they do go on the shorts. If they did go on the shorts, that would be absolutely amazing. But yeah, this one is like almost as good as the home. I don't think it's quite as good, but I do like the colorway is very fresh. It does feel quite Spanish, doesn't it? You think of like Malaga and like other teams who kind of play in these colors, but it like again, this offers something different to the home. Still very retro, but I do think that this is another really effective look. The chunky cuffs are quite an interesting decision, but I don't mind it. It obviously matches quite well with the collar, and even though I'd often want to see a few details or something in the cuffs, like the home has, again, it's a different direction to go down. I don't hate it at all. Crest has been recolored, and you've got the same year detail. So another really good design. Like, this is, I would say, high Flames tier, which is, you know, to say it's not far from the home in my opinion. And as a 1-2 punch, we're not going to see many better. So Macron's superiority, really. I have to say that the love for these kits, the hype, which I definitely helped, I definitely jumped in on. I think it's justified. Like, I'd be very happy to put this kit as high. Like, we've got the Belgian away, right? I think this is just behind that for me. Big fan. And of course, because of those two kits, we have to give Macron some credit. In fact, they're currently sitting here, and I don't think it's an exaggeration. Let's stick them here. Let's stick them just above Asics and above Kappa. It's been a good day for them, and honestly, the strength of these two kits alone really, I think, just speaks to the brand's the brand's strength in 2024. Now, of course, you know, these are unashamedly retro, so there is an argument to be said that, you know, it's not particularly original, but I do think because they've actually taken some steps from it being just a straight remake, I think we have to give them credit for capturing what makes those retro inspired kits so good, or those retro kits so good. So two really good shirts. I could talk about these for a long time. I already have talked about them for a long time, but we will move on. Yeah, that's a great shot, actually, Sega. So just notice how good the Cadiz crest goes with the Macron's logo. Indeed, it does actually. I hadn't thought of that. That's quite good. And also, I need to see Macron taking a big club or country. They've been on fire this year. I think they have done fairly big clubs, but yeah, they've yet to take like a massive contract. And it's kind of funny because their strategy actually has been to kind of take some of these kind of still top tier teams, but not the biggest contracts. But I think it served them well. Ultimately, the quality is really high. But we come to Celtic now, talking to big teams. I think this is sneakily the best Celtic shirt for a number of years. It's probably my favourite Celtic Adidas home shirt from the new deal that's been going for what, 3-4 seasons. And I think there's some really nice touches. Now, the first thing that jumps out is seeing the Celtic shirt in the new Adidas template, but actually the template doesn't get in the way. If anything, it actually looks quite strong. The kind of dark green flash, the kind of Teamgeist-esque section here, I think it looks quite nice. I appreciate that seems to be the same colour as the stripes. And of course it goes in the shorts. We talked about this a lot. A lot of people don't like it. I personally think it's quite fun, but I think that is, you know, largely a good thing. It adds a bit of intrigue, a bit of interest. Great to see the hoops again. It's, like, it should be obvious, but it's, you know, they're aligned perfectly there with the other panels, and indeed going on to the sleeves. That's a nice touch. Fully on the back, albeit slightly broken up because of the template, but you know, again, that's a positive. So I think this is a good Celtic home shirt. We've also got of course this detail on the collar. I don't mind that at all. I think it looks good. I think this actually is a really good use of the template, and this is the kind of thing where Adidas, generally speaking, I think are in a good place this year. I'm really enjoying the variation we've seen with their template, and again, we talked about this a lot. We'll see this a lot at the Euros. You know, the fact that different kits are used in different areas of the template to showcase patterns or details. Some of them are keeping them plain. You know, like some kits, and I'd probably like to see more kits do this. Some of them have kind of patterns, elements within this stripe, this section. Not really a stripe, is it more like a swoosh? Dare I say the word swoosh for an Adidas kit? Well, this is good. Bonus points for long sleeve options. There seems to be at least long sleeves for the home shirt there. Be quite cool to see maybe if they could maybe use that cuff pattern for the sleeve. Sorry, the collar pattern for the sleeve cuffs. But I digress. Really good shirt. I think this is easily a low flames tier shirt. And often the bar for a home shirt is a bit higher. By that I mean for a home shirt to be ranked higher on this tier list, it's usually a bit harder compared to an away or third shirt, because home shirts are often more constrained by tradition. But this is a really, really good Celtic shirt. To be honest, I said low Flames tier. I think there would be an argument to have it even towards the mid of the Flames tier, but we won't get too crazy. We'll stick it kind kind of around this area, but I do like it a lot, and I must say that I think this is again one of the best Celtic home shirts. I think the last Celtic home shirt which I really enjoyed was actually one of the New Balance ones. It was probably I think it was 2017. It was the one with the kind of gold, the very kind of soft gold details, and it was not into the European Cup win, but it was just I really liked that one. It wasn't to everyone's taste, but yeah, it's like what, 7 years, 8 years, something like that. Very good shirt from Adidas and Celtic. Excited to see the rest of the collection. Guys, we've got a few more shirts, but we are entering the home straight. So as we continue, thank you for tuning in. It's been a busy stream. It's been a fun stream. I'll say as well, whilst we've got a little crowd here, that we are going to be doing a few streams for the Euros. My initial plan is to do a stream pre-Euros, maybe a tier list or something, kind of just a kind of preview, kit guide, maybe something like that. Something during the Euros, like mid-Euros. So I'm probably not a watch along. We've tried those in previous tournaments. I don't think they're the best content. I don't think I provide the best content for that sort of style. But I think it'd be fun to maybe react to some stories that happen in the Euros, or do something like, you know, kind of something that's current during the tournament, and then something immediately after the tournament, a reflection, maybe talk about the kits that we didn't see, or just any of the big stories again. So I think a minimum of 3 videos, and I'll probably do them as a kind of pre-recorded style rather than a live stream. So I'll have a think. If any of you have any ideas for videos you'd like to see, things you'd like to see me cover, ideas for content, let me know, of course, either in the chat or in the comments. Yeah, I'm excited. Duncan says 2 weeks tomorrow. That is crazy, isn't it? It snuck up on us. I love major tournaments. I think for me they're like my favourite times to watch football. They're a lot of fun. I mean, obviously this tournament as well. There's a few teams in the running. I don't think there's a clear favourite. Cautiously optimistic as an England fan, even though I know that my heart will be broken in that regard. I'm very used to that now, but nonetheless, should be fun. Now we come to Vermont Green. These guys are really making a name for themselves. Recent kits have seen them go for like a floral idea, but this is a very different take. Still green as you know, as their home colours, but we've got a kind of alpine theme, and I really like this take. It is again a bit of a twist on some of their previous homes, but it still has, like, it's maintaining that kind of nature aesthetic. I think that the success of this is down to the colours. The shades of green, the particular shades of green, really combine well together. And you know, this isn't just a simple mint shirt. We've seen a lot of mint away shirts or mint coloured kits, but this, I think, isn't just a simple mint kit. You know, I think both the nature of the pattern and indeed the colours, they almost looks like you're kind of looking at like a forest from afar, but it does have that kind of snow feeling. Obviously the photo shoot here is telling the story as well, but you know, the pattern's fully on the back, which is excellent, and indeed the sleeves, we've got a nice little detail on the back neck. Sponsors, they are what they are, nothing too crazy, although at least they are, you know, it's a green sponsor, so that's not a bad thing. I think this is great. I think this is like a really well executed design from Player Layer. And yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Forest Green Rovers, just because I think this is actually, because of the shades of green being a bit bluer and a bit more kind of, a bit fresher than the more kind of garish, the kind of Vault Green that Forest Green Rovers typically run with. I think this does separate itself from that particular comparison, for me personally. But I hear you. Obviously the player layer connection as well, that makes sense. Yeah, this is good, guys. I think this is, again, for me, just a continuation of the club's good work. And in fact, I would probably go as far as to say I'd put this in the Flames tier. even though this shirt is, of course, inspired. But I forgot to move Adidas actually. Yeah, we'll just bump them up slightly. Even though this Vermont green shirt is inspired by the slopes, by the snow. I think it's a hot shirt. I would go as far as to say it is in the Flames tier. Fairly low in the Flames tier, but I do think it is really well crafted from Player Layer and Vermont green. Yeah, Ian said it would work well as a Celtic shirt. I think it would. Yeah, as a Celtic away or a third shirt. And that's the thing. Celtic had, I think, was it 1 or 2 years ago? They had they had a mint coloured shirt, of course. This would definitely fit into that. If not, be a bit more interesting, I'd say. So I think let's go here for Vermont. I really like it. Really like the design. It does look a bit like a keeper kit. That's fair, Daredevil. But I think the shades of green really do hit the mark for me. Hit the spot. Right, we come to Harrogate Town. So this is good actually because we already looked at the third. So we got the home and away. Although I need to remember, what did we... So let me just check where did we start? So we had the Milan, we had the... This is last week's. The Lille... I forget what team that was there. So let's just make sure how far we need to go down. Okay, cool. I think because of time's sake, guys, I do need to head off. So I'm going to leave it there, and hopefully I can catch up. I still need to catch up on a number of kits, so that's the job I've got to do. But if it comes to it, we'll just have to kind of we'll gradually work our way through. But nonetheless, if I just make a note here, so what did we start? We started with Nantes, and we went down to Vermont green. So I'll just make a note of my folder here. I should have been doing this every week, really, just so we know which shirts we've done. So recap, a pretty successful day. I mean, Cadiz, however you say their name, stars of the show. Really liked their kits, both home and away. Were absolutely brilliant. There were other successes too in the Flames tier. I think Celtic's kit is sneakily pretty good, and indeed Rangers and Castor. I mean, that's a battle there, isn't it? Between Rangers, I just about snuck the Rangers away ahead of the Celtic home. The Old Firm derby there, but two good kits for either side of Glasgow, and there we go. Thank you guys. It's been a fun stream. It's been a busy stream, and I do want to say as well, excuse me, apologies for missing Tuesday. I've missed quite a few Tuesdays. I'm really hoping I'll be able to, well, I can't again promise exactly when I'll be live just because there's a few other projects going on, but I will let you know, if not next Tuesday, the Tuesday after, I'm sure. And certainly Thursdays will be continuing as well, and we've got more videos to come. Don't forget to check out my unboxing video of this shirt behind me. It's on the channel. Check it out if you haven't already. That'll mean a lot. I just sent some friends of mine had a chance to referee one of their USL2 games. Nice. That's very cool. And Sega, I'm just catching up on the comments, but Sega saying, saw the Euros home kits in one image the other day, and it just dawned on me how much red and white dominates all the kits. 3 blue and 1 yellow, but the rest. Yeah, I mean, that I think speaks a lot to two things. Obviously, red is a popular colour, and particularly in international football, but I think specifically with European nations, it just is a big, just a popular colour. You know, continents do often have kind of dominant colours or more dominant colours, so I would associate Africa with green kits more, or yellow kits. In kind of North Central America, blue is often quite a popular colour for some of those kind of nations. I say popular, like relatively more popular, but that's kind of my association. Red is probably similarly popular in Asia again, but those are kind of generalizations. But yeah, I think often with European teams, European nations, red is it certainly dominates major competitions. Yeah. Daredevil said you should wear the Champions League kit on the pretty much ceremonies for each stream. Yeah, I was glad you picked up on that detail, Daredevil. Because that's literally when I had to tell, I thought, oh yeah, let's just do that like they do in the pre-game. Yeah, if I had the rights to, I would, or maybe I should have asked UEFA actually if I could have used the anthem. That would have been fun. Maybe I should have done that. That could have added something. Right, I keep yawning. I need to go offline, but thank you so much for watching, guys. Appreciate once again your ongoing support, and yeah, lots of fun stuff coming up, which I'll share more of as we exit. Sorry, not enter. We're not start again. As we finish, as we exit. I forgot to mention my Patreon. Patreon is there as well. Details in the description, but that is a place you can support me and get a range of really cool benefits. Check that out if you want to go that extra step further. But thank you for watching, and I will see you hopefully either Tuesday or Thursday. I'll let you know. But really appreciate your support, your company, your contributions. Thanks, Andreas. Thanks, Sega, as well, for your comments saying, yeah, true, with other concerts, not something I don't pay attention to. Completely fair. Honestly, I probably pay too much attention to this sort of stuff. But yep, that is me. And yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for a fun stream, a busy stream. It's been a good one. I will not read out Daredevil's comment. Instead, I will say, go Jags, and can't wait for another dominant season. I say another. Not that we've had many at all that are dominant. But a dominant season from T-Law and company. Oh, sorry, you're talking about the Stanley Cup. That's all good. I thought this was another rogue NFL shout. Yeah, it's a shame. I honestly, so I was sorry. This is a really random end to the stream. So I'm not keeping up to date with so I'm just checking that here with hockey as much as I used to, but yeah, I've definitely missed keeping up to date with that, so I couldn't even tell you what's happening at the moment with the NHL, except to say that I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan on account of my wife. That's the story for another day, which I have shared a bit in my collection video. But yeah, hockey jerseys in Florida, that's pretty brave, Daredevil. That's pretty brave. Oh dear. Right, thank you guys. Thank you for watching and for your ongoing support. I'll see you soon for the next one. Take care and all the best.
Bye.